Welcome to part 2 of this wall plaque where I'm going to try to make a candle holder that will attach to this plaque. A lot of you voted and you said, oh yes, please do part 2. Thanks guys. Let me show you everything that I have thought about trying to use. First off, if you look at the inspiration picture again, to me, it looks like it's an antique candle holder. Maybe it's just the little circle part and the part that bends back, that's the holder. And maybe the back piece is all clay. I'm not sure. I know they attached at least one clay piece at the top of the picture like I have done here. But a couple things. When I had my husband cut this board, we were looking at the picture and he thought it should be shorter than what I thought. I wanted it about 15 inches wide. This is 14. And gauging by the picture, I thought it was about twice as long as it was wide. So somewhere around 27, 28 tall. Well, he thought that was too tall. And honestly, when we kind of drew it out, it did look too tall. But now that I have finished this board, I realize my first instincts were correct because I don't have a very long space here to create a candle. My first thought was to use, not a real candle. In the picture, it's a real candle, but I don't think that would be very safe. So I felt like a battery-powered candle was going to work better. And I have these, but good grief, look how tall. To me, that definitely interferes with the picture. Plus, this piece is really tall. But that's what I was trying to play around with at first. The other thing about this one is I would need to really decorate and add some drippy stuff. And this gold piece at the top is what you actually have to unscrew to put the batteries in. And then you just turn the light bulb. Anyway, this gold piece is part of the whole light lamp. So I wouldn't be able to put anything over that. Not sure why this isn't coming on. It was coming on. Nevertheless, maybe I had it on and the batteries already wore out because it was laying down here a couple days. That's probably what happened. Anyway, too tall. So then I thought, okay, can we find a shorter candle? And I looked and I found one, but the color's terrible. So I'll have to do something about that. But see, it's shorter. It has the little drippies. It's actually wax coated. And here you turn the bottom piece to turn it on. And it has kind of a flickering feature, which I like, rather than just constantly being on. Looks a little more real, right? So height-wise, that's much, much better. This, however, is too big for this. I knew it was going to be, and plus I didn't really want to use this. So other options. Well, I had this one, but it's very heavy. It's iron. It does fit, but this would be hard to hold up against the board. I got to have something lightweight. I had this thing, totally wrong design, totally different design. Okay, so those are out. Then I had these things that I use all the time for different projects. It fits, it's a little loose, but I can make it tighter. So I'm thinking that's what's going to be my base holder. And I'm also thinking that I'm going to try to cut it right there just to make it even shorter. But I needed a cup. At first I looked at this thing. It's one of those paint cups, which you can get at Hobby Lobby. But again, I don't know, it looked too thick. So when I was at Hobby Lobby just a bit ago, I was looking in their candle section and I saw these things. I don't know how in the world you say that word. It must be another language, because down here it says crystal candle rings. They're not crystal, they're plastic. But I was like, huh, okay. They're a nice shape. They're slightly rounded up. I'm thinking I might glue both of these together, but you know what? I don't know that I need to. This does sound like glass. I think it is. Ooh, it is. Because there's a little cut thing there. Huh. I think I'll just use one. Now we'll use the one that has the little cut thingamajigger, because I'm going to be covering this with a product to make it thicker. And now that I know it's glass, definitely need to cover it. So anyways, I think I'm going to cut this down and then glue it to that. And then I'll have that. Let's see, it still looks a little too high. It doesn't give me a lot of space down here, so I definitely want to cut that. The first step in building the candle holder was to create something in my mind that looked like a Sherlock Holmes smoking pipe with that curve. So using a coat hanger, a pretty stiff coat hanger, I started shaping, and then I made 2 of them because I wanted to make it extra strong. This is going to have to hold up the little saucer thing I do and the candle itself. So I've got 2 there. I just took some little wired twine stuff and wrapped them together just to make it a little easier to work with. And then after that, I covered it with some floral wire, again, just to make it easier and a little more solid. Now I need to gauge how high up I want that saucer to be up that stem, and at that point I started bending my hangers because they're going to lay flat in the saucer. Now I did go ahead and bend them both because and then cut them off a little shorter, but I did that because I knew I could pull the saucer up through the other side after I get my product on there and embed it. At this point I wanted to create some thickness because the clay product that I'm going to be using, when it hardens, it's very heavy. So I want to use very thin pieces of this epoxy clay. So I start with foil and I just wrap until I get kind of a thickness, thicker at the top where it's going to come up under the saucer, because if you look at the picture you can see that it's kind of slanted like a cone. I chose to use Epoxy Sculpt because I know that, first of all, it bonds to anything. You don't have to use any kind of glue. And after 24 hours, it is rock solid hard. But it is a heavy product. It's kind of an epoxy and a clay at the same time. I used it before when I created that oak tree. If you watched any of that for the birdhouse Chateau de Plumes video, I started with that. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to work with, and I don't know whether it's because I've had this for 2 years and hadn't opened it, but it's hard to get out and it's really hard to work with. You can, however, continuously use water with it, which is what I do. Now, you have to mix equal parts, so I kind of roll part A, part B in little balls and see if I've got equal amounts. Then I mash it out kind of flat like a pancake, put them together, and then start really mixing, twisting, mixing, twisting. You're supposed to mix for 2 minutes, I would say, or until you have a solid color. You're not seeing the two different colors. It's got to be thoroughly mixed or it will not work correctly. After that, you let it sit for 5 minutes and then you're ready to work with it.
Like a moving tide. Yeah. I pack my things and start running, 'cause I can face it on my own. But when you're by my side, I feel stronger. No need to run, no need to hide with you. Made up my mind. It is you that I will follow, 'cause it is our time, yeah. And I won't wait till tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. Oh. I won't wait till tomorrow. The rain is like never ending. Oh, it's a moody sight. But your eyes make me forget it. Oh, 'cause they lighten up the sky. 'Cause when you're by my side, I feel stronger. No need to run, no need to hide, 'cause I made up my mind. It is you that I will follow, 'cause it is our time, yeah. And I won't wait till tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. I can't wait till tomorrow. No, wanna be by your side. No need to run or hide when I'm with you.
Now it's time to create the decorative back plate, as I call it, for the candle. And I only have like 5 3/8 of an inch for this. Honestly, this took me more time than it did to do this little saucer thingy you just saw that holds the candle. And I think it's because I just didn't have exactly the right molds. I knew I was going to have to put together a whole lot of them just to kind of get a similar design. I really liked at the top, in the picture at the top of the inspiration picture that I'm copying, there's an urn there. And to me, it almost looks like a genie lamp, except it's an urn. So that's what I am working with right now using the IOD Baubles Mould. I'm just going to kind of speed through some of these and show you how I worked it to put it together, but I think this probably took me 3 hours. And I got frustrated, was having trouble with one of the last little pieces, and I just said, oh phooey, stop for the day. Your hands aren't working. Start back in the morning. So there will be a point where you'll kind of see that, I'm sure. The clay I'm using is the Hardy Soft Clay for all of this part. I hope you enjoy watching these crazy creations of creating a candle backplate.
Open up the heavens, come rain down your presence. Jesus, come, inhabit the praise of the sinner and saint. Jesus, come, and Jesus, move. Here and now, we call on you, Lord, come and meet us today. Here and now, have your way. Open up the heavens, come rain down your presence. We know there's more, so much more. Here and now,
The candle holder has dried overnight and the epoxy sculpt is quite hard. There are two things that I did not like, however. First, there wasn't enough of the epoxy sculpt on the top of the saucer so that when I pushed the wooden candles holder in, it didn't bond enough because there wasn't enough of the sculpt material around the wooden disc. I was able to snap that off and I didn't like it, but in the end, I was glad I was able to do that because I didn't think the whole cup holder looked soft enough. That epoxy sculpt is difficult to work with, and smoothing it out was a bit of a problem for me. So now I am using air dry clay, rolling it out super thin, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it again and try to get it a little bit smoother for my taste.
This is a good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has a clearer light as any to see the horizon in the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind on my face, all that ever was is a wreck. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. borrow today. Well, something's gotta give today. Is a good